Yo, so what's going on, Battlefielders? It is Pwn, and here we go with this week's 8v8 Pubstar tournament. This is game 2 of the set. The game before this, they actually won by 100 tickets. Count it, 100 tickets. This game right here, we had to drop their tickets below 100. Obviously, 100 for a tie. 101 and higher, we lose. This game was very intense, very close. And this game right here, I actually developed a plan as well. Our attacking strategy was to take the tank to B, to let the little Jeep go right around the back right there and draw their attention where we can go up here, put the beacon down, and allow us to parachute in. Now, one thing that we did this week that they did not is we had 2 recons on both the attacking and defending side. The ability to parachute in and is a great advantage that you always offer your team. And you do sacrifice a lot when you do that. You'll notice in this game I end up going like 7-12, which is a horrible, horrible kill type game. But I play my role effectively, and that's the example that I want to put up in this video. May not be flashy, may not be impressive, but at the end of the day, I played my role well, and I guess that's what it comes down to. I mean, using and utilizing my spawn beacon, the motion sensor, callouts, everything like that's great. As for the callout topic, a lot of people are always like, hey, Pwn, I want to see a live commentary. I don't think I will ever post up the live footage of these 8v8 Pubstars, and the reason for being is because half of the other guys are doing it. Down in the description below will be their channels. Find someone there that you like to watch. Check out one of those guys. Watch it from their perspective. And hopefully it can pan out for you guys. I mean, maybe one day when I have like one extremely great game, I may do so. But right here it was really, really difficult. I managed to get upside that ladder, get in here and do something. Unfortunately, like I said, the restrictions to being a recon is I chose the SV98 because I expected that I would have to help cover or possibly snipe anyone going for the hill, or actually just sitting up on the balcony or roof. So I decided to go with the SV98, and my backup was to alternate in and swing in with the UMP45. So I'm very, very limited towards what I'm capable of, and this is exactly how it pays off. The objective that I had for me was to set up the beacon in the back of it, parachute in the roof, put a beacon and a motion sensor up top on the top floors, and Mongol, who was our other recon, was to put it out on that grassy hill that we went across at the start that I pre-fired as a distraction. He was supposed to go over there and cover anybody that may have had a Javelin or RPG trying to cut off that quick rush. And I was very, very unaware of a lot of my surroundings in this. I made quite a few mistakes, and that's kind of the point that I want to do this. I want to break down exactly what went wrong and where I made my mistakes and where I succeeded in. So there was a lot of good communication in this. We did do well at the start, and we started to slowly drift apart a little bit. And right now would be the great time. I stuck to Recon because I knew how important Recons are to this map. It's very difficult to capture C. You've got to worry about claymores. You've got to worry about people, controlling the stairwell. One of the only other ways in is actually hitting from the roof, and it's the one that has probably the most likelihood to succeed. And the reason we were going for C heavy at the start, because you take C, you take away their ability to have tank. If they don't have a tank and we have a tank, we instantly have an advantage. So the fact that we're aiming and hitting so hard on C right now has these guys kind of flustered. We had the other Jeep, the buggy went around, and they met at the same time. The plan was to take the tank over to B, have the buggy go all the way around, and when the buggy and tank got there, they met together, they took B, they suppressed it, and they did a great thing. So if you guys want to see the exact rushing route, you guys can check my team down below. I believe Daskro, he was controlling the whole setup as we had 3 guys push A, 1 up here on the hill that I'm on right now, and this is what I'm trying to do right now. We're communicating. Doom's like, hey, go. He's going up here, he's climbing the ladder. I'm trying my best to cover him, suppress, do call-outs, let everybody know what's going on. So I put my beacon over here so that hopefully we could spawn in if necessary, and that's one of the advantages. I mean, like I said, for a role situation, the whole setup is incredible. The Recon is a valuable asset that the other team has not utilized in either 2 of the weekend games that we've played. None of them have ever used Recon, and it really, really seemed to pay off for us. Now, the catch being is I'm limited. I'm not going to be able to use my infantry skills. I'm not going to be able to use my Slayer skills to suppress the team. I don't have my patty cakes. I don't have health packs. And I don't have a gun I'm reliable on. There is seriously no gun in the Recon category that can compete with any of the guns in the Assault, or possibly even in the engineer weapons. It's seriously the Asphalt, the UMP, all these guns are just probably about 3-star guns, where all the engineer weapons are probably about 4 out of 5, and the assault weapons are probably the ideal thing. Most of the other enemies either had the AEK or the M16A3. Obviously, there may have been a couple engineer guys as well, which I would expect them to use like the M4A1 in that situation. So with everything going down, we did manage to take C, and it was basically just kind of a back and forth between B, which was extremely, extremely difficult because that's where our communication started to lack. And here I go, just like one little baby infant, crawling all over the floor, trying to protect the objective. I got the beacon up, I'm letting people spawn on me, I'm communicating, they're like, hey, we got a couple more coming in, so I'm like, you know what, I'm going to hide behind these little boxes right here, because Lord knows cardboard can save that ass. And we just really try to lock it down. I don't know why I'm, a parakeet all of a sudden. I don't know why I'm honestly sitting in the window. I'm just trying to make sure that they don't get behind, possibly put a beacon down, because I'm afraid that they may try to take our tactic. This was the second game, so I was kind of nervous about the fact that they may actually go about putting a recon in if necessary. And that's kind of one of my concerns, that maybe they will learn the value of a recon, and if they get like Matimio, who's a pretty damn decent recon, to start playing that role, it can add this extra effect. I mean, especially for Conquest Assault, which what we have right here. We have limited things. There are 3 buggies and 2 tanks. 1 tank for each side, 1 buggy for each side, and right in between A and the other objectives, right in the middle of the map, is another buggy, which people are really not going to use the buggies too much outside of transport reasons. The tanks are very, very useful. So I believe we went a little overboard. I think on the attacker side, we had a nice little setup with 2 assault guys, 2 recons, and 4 engineers. And on the defensive side, we actually had Jack Frags running. I had him sit in the stairwell with the ability to have, and this was a great defensive strategy to hold C. 2 guys held C on defense almost the entire game, and it was incredible. Jack Frags and Mongol did a great way. I developed a plan to where Frags would be a support. He'd use like the PKP or something. He would put right here on C, he would put claymores on both of the ladders going up, which meant that if anybody wanted to do that, that's fine. He would sit down here on this first set of stairs covering the staircase. That is most of the entrances right there. That is a lot of the cover right there. And it's iffy whether or not they use double frags or if they're going to pre-nade those ladders. Maybe they learned from it, but either way, it's a great thing to stop an initial rush. And Mongol actually had a motion sensor mid-floor, which would know if anybody's attacking or where they're coming from, which is a great advantage. Like I said, it's one thing they did not have. That motion sensor at C saved ass heavily. And on top of that, he also had a spawn beacon up at the very top floor. So if they're going to rush up, the likelihood of them running straight to the roof, I mean, it's a smart move, but under pressure, they may not have done it. So by the time Jack maybe died on the staircase, he had the optional ability to spawn in on the beacon, run down, because it takes a lot of time. You could probably clear out a flag and completely neutralize it before anybody can get up to the top stairs. So by the time he has that 5-second countdown that he needs to spawn back in, he could probably get at the same level as the other guys after he dies on the flag. He can meet them there. So it was a great plan. Mongol was on the roof spotting, calling out, had the beacon up there. He had his recon out. It was an incredible game. He was safe, calling it out. And the plan and the strategies are really what made this together. The players were great. The communication was great. And there was a lot of stress and pressure on us, and I'm kind of upset about the fact that I didn't perform as well as I thought. I lost a lot of gunfights, and I think I had a couple of awareness fails, and that really, really kind of bothered me, because I really have high expectations for myself. I'm not expecting to be the best ever, and this was just the unfortunate time that, they're like, oh, by the way, they're taking C, right? When I'm jumping down the backbone of this building, they're like, oh, they're back on C. And it's just like extreme communication is what gives you the advantage. Gun skill matters, but knowing that I have a gun that's instantly weaker than every other gun that everybody else on the other team is using kind of upsets me. They also had 2 really, really great players, and they sub-ins. They had Grizzle and they had Rival Hawk. So they had one set. They had 2 guys that were fillers that were just straight up ringers. They were incredible people, and this game really, really did come down to the wire. There was a lot of time in here and there where we had to try to capture this and that. We just kind of, on the defensive side, kind of just said, you know what, let's fuck it, not worry about it too much. When we attacked, we just kind of said, you know what, let's ignore A a little bit, try to do what we can, put pressure. We figured most of the fight will be around B and C because they do not want to lose their armor. And they actually did pretty damn well for not having armor the entire time. We did a lot of pressure holding this down, and I think what happened is we focused too much on C being a deciding factor, that we spent way too much time at C. That was one of our flaws, and I guess there is a such thing as wasted potential. Having 1 or 2 excess guys that really did not belong to be there, and we could have been using them elsewhere and utilizing that spread out. So I guess one thing that we need to work on more as a team is to communicate more as a squad. The squads each had 1 recon, 1 assault, and 2 engineers. So I felt that what we should have done is we should have captured C, put some pressure on B, and then replicated exactly what we did on defense. Try to switch out the classes and lock the buildings down, because at that point, it's exactly what we did on defense, and we held it pretty well. So At the end of the day, it was a great experiment. I've realized that the recons are a great asset to the team. I know they hold me back personally because I'm one of the better slayers on the team. So I think next week expect to see probably some M16A3 for me. I'll probably be putting the patty cakes on and seeing exactly what I could do against these big dogs. And maybe have more of a presence in the whole fighting and healing and everything kind of day. But I can't wait to see how that turns out. And, see that right there is a perfect example. Had I have had the M16A3, the guy on the right would not have survived that, and I would have possibly had the ability to get behind cover and take out the other guy. So like I said, the Recon does have a flaw, and it wasn't so much as a burden. It's just a little bit more difficult, as a personal player, that you could have done more had you had something else. But it was a great thing knowing that I did well as my class. I put the beacons down. I put the motion sensors. We communicated. So even though I myself wasn't very successful on the scoreboard, I did play my role pretty decent. I saved a couple of moments. I saved C once. I mean, I did what I could. And at the end of the day, I really, really enjoy this. I love playing against skilled players. I love playing against people like, the rival guys. That I have so much to learn from them, and I only have, up to go. That's all I have to do is keep trying it out. And this was an awkward moment. I knew that they'd probably put pressure back on B. They ended up taking the tank because they took C, which means they'll get their tank back, which is a really, really hard change of events in our game. They managed to take that back. And when they took that back, they put a lot of pressure on us. I ended up dying right there. And I put the spawn beacon in, so I tried to do something cool, kind of fishy, and think out of the box. And I wanted to spawn in with support and try to drop C4 from the heaven and see if I could take that tank out, which would have completely changed the game itself. But unfortunately, I didn't have the accuracy. I don't know how pigeons do it, man. I don't have it. So I tried to do something useful. I was unable to do so, and I didn't have a support class loadout set up. I did have an NG if necessary, and my assault, and that's one thing I need to do a little bit more, is I need to test out a little. I need to see what it's like going in this competitive setting. But overall, it's been a great adventure. I can't wait to see what happens next week. I'll keep up to date with you guys. Remember to check down in the description below. Like I said, you guys have to check those guys out if you want to see the live commentary, what goes through, and how we manage to succeed. I think there are major differences between both sides of communication. They kind of cooperate a little bit more as a squad. They kind of yell, here, go there, do this, do that. Their captains actually, demand and say this, where we're just more of an informative group, which neither is better or worse than the other. They're just entirely different, and I like different. Different's great. So, at the end of the day, this was a great tournament. It was a great, fun match, and I would suggest that anybody that was curious about how we do this or what strategies we do, to check out Daskaro. I believe he's going to be running through some of the tutorials. This is a nice little place right here that I found that I like to capture. But at the minute, if you guys did not check that there at the end, we did manage, even though it says you lost, we did manage to lose by only 99. So we won by a single ticket. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Look forward to the next one.